But I know that y'all just better rock this at the drop of a dime, baby. I don't know what y'all gonna do with this, but it got to be funky. It got to be funky if you're gonna be on it. I don't care who start, I don't care what y'all do, but you got to be finished before the music is through.
Listen closely, so your attention's undivided. Many in the past have tried to do what I did. Just the way I came off then, I'm gonna come off stronger and longer, even with the drum off. I'll keep on going and flowing just like a river. I got a whole lot to give, so I'm a giver. Little at a time, new trails are blazing. Action is in effect and always stays in. Yeah, just like a shot from a cannon. I am the man in charge and I've been planning a jam strong enough that it can lift your soul. I'm the originator and my rhymes are made of gold. Once you hear the capital A, rap it'll stay with you for a while. It won't go away unless you force it, because it stays with you, my friend. And if you force it away, I'ma hit you again. I project my voice so it's right in the crowd. There's a sign at the door, no biting allowed. And if you didn't read it, I suggest you do so, or you'll be stranded, just like Caruso. Sleep if you wanna, go ahead, get some shut eye. A man broke his jaw trying to say what I say on the microphone. He should have left it alone, just for the record. Let it be known that my ego's only partially grown. And never would I ever condone fighting in any form. Yo, I'm only warm. That verse was the calm. Now here's the storm. Next up, yo, I believe that's me. Craig G, light up the mic for the symphony. This jam is dedicated to all unoptimistics that thought I wasn't coming out with some exquisite rhymes. But that's alright, cause now I'm back to kill all the rumors and straighten the facts of me. Now rocking rhymes like I always used to, but you jumped on the tip when you heard me in the Juice Crew. You said, ain't that something? No, Craig, I heard you in that jam, it's pumping. I apologize. Oh yeah, and can I have your autograph for me and my grandma? That's how I'm living. On surprise mode, don't even sleep. Try not to keep your eyes closed, cause if you do, when you awaken, your so-called spot will be taken. I'll take it over like a greedy executive, cause on the mic, my perspective is to be the best in all rap events. And since I have a car, I call experience. Next up, yo, I believe that's me. Cool G-Rap, light up the mic for the symphony. Yo, Marley gives a slice. I get nice and my voice is twice as horrifying as this advice goes deep. Till you fell in a spell of a sleep. And while I'm counting the money, you count sheep. When G-Rap strikes the mic, I recite the type, the hype that you like to make the people unite. I rip off the hips and zip off lips. Step on reps. You flip and wanna sip on my tip. Take a deep breath because you don't have another left. Coming back like I'm revenging my brother's death. Making veterans run for medicine, cause I put out more life in a fight to call medicine. Rip the damn cage like I'm on a rampage. So if you want rage, I'ma make front page. Read the headlines, suckers, the day's the deadline. Your head is way past bedtime. Can't kill though, solo, he's off stillo. Soft like a pillow, my rap is rougher than Brillo. So fear me, don't dare me. And don't compare me to him when you hear me. Talk about a battle, but you ain't yet ready for war. Your metaphor sucks more than a whore. You can't replace me, ice me or ace me. Face me, slice me or race me. Bite me or taste me. I see you that I got force. My rap burns your mouth like hot sauce. Run for water while I break your tape recorder. Serve the sucker, the order is manslaughter. Another rapper, G-Rap Rex, he's rated X. The meaner boy is sex. Next, the amplifier gets used and abused. Pump so loud we might blow a fuse. This is anger, madness, ready to hang up. Rapper a singer, I'm putting up my middle finger. Next up, I believe that's me. Big Daddy can't get on the mic for the symphony. Setting it off, letting it off, beginning. Rough till the ending, you never been in. Move the groove with the smooth rap lord, like a bottle of juice. Rhymes are being poured down your ear, crisp and clear as I prepare to wear, tear and smear. Then I'm out of here with the mark left that you can all cling. Cause rocking a party, yo, is a small thing. I rip many places on regular basis, and broken down mics were the only traces that I've been there, in there at the party. The mic had my prints, and on it was a body. So take caution, I'm not horsing around in a throwdown clown. I'm taking yours, son. So just acknowledge the way that I kicked it. Cause if rap was a house, you'd be evicted and dismissed from the microphone. Choking on a bone, cause daddy is home. And babbling me is hazardous to health. So put a quarter in your ass cause you played yourself. Like a game in the arcade, you need a far aid. I'm walking the path that a law made. I'll attend and then begin to send a speech to reach and teach. So just say when.
so I can let lyrics blast like a bullet. My mouth is the gun, on suckers I pull it. The trigger, get bigger, my pockets getting bigger. Cause when it comes to money, yo, Grant's my nigga. You got the groove, MCs, freeze, stand still. Nobody move, it's a sabotage. As I take charge, don't march. Cause goddamn, I'm living large like a giant. You're nothing but a midget, a small digit. You ain't with it, forget it, quit it. I reign superior, always taking care of ya. No frill rappers, you will evaporate, disintegrate, deflate to your fate. As the great will dominate, straight to the state of reigning, gaining. So put gain in that category, period in the story.
Not in my book. You supposed to keep on going to the end of the record. I still hear beats, what's that I hear? Then I hear you the mic, I hear Big Daddy Kane, Master Ace, Fred G, and my main man Cool G. They call it up. I ain't gonna give y'all no microphone no more because y'all tear it up when y'all get it.
All right, man. All right, man. Somebody that old school. This gets the brother in the mood, man. How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of the KBK. What's going on, everybody? Good shouts out to those who made themselves known and those who may catch it on the replay, man. Thank you for taking the time to listen to little old me. Teresa, as always, how you doing? Beautiful. Hey, how you doing? Eucalyptus. Hey. Yeah, how you doing, brother? With certain age, what's going on? Spider, what's going on? Cool G Rap, man. So underrated, man. So underrated. Name doesn't get mentioned enough. Eucalyptus, the plane crash. We're gonna touch on that just a little bit in like the second half of the show. You know, I gotta fulfill my obligations to the executive producer of the show, i.e. Gator Girl. Got to get the sports in, because if not, she will not be happy. But anyway, let me kind of get it set up, man. Like I said, hope everybody is doing well, man. Hope you had a good week, man. It's Friday, man. The weekend, at the end of the month, start of a new month coming up. Man, this year going by fast, dude. Damn, it's going by fast. That was already in January. Shit. But anyway, we're gonna get into the latest and greatest from the world of sports. Make sure you tune in next week. We will be doing a Super Bowl preview over here, kind of breaking it down more in depth, since it is the final game of the year, and then that kind of stuff. You saw the headlines, so it is. Yeah, this month going by. You know, the year is going by. Maybe because when you hit a certain age, it's like time just picks up. Like, you know. Except for the work day, but just like time just picks up, man. This is flowing. Woo. Anyway, like I said, make sure y'all tune in next week for that. We'll be getting to that, and of course, other topics and stuff to kind of come across the desk, and if I have commentary on it and all of that, we'll be talking about the plane crash. Not necessarily the plane crash, because listen, I ain't an expert on that kind of stuff, but the response from the president, it was interesting. We'll talk about that. Of course, we're gonna talk about the DJ Akademik situation. And we're gonna let's start off. Since we're gonna start off with the sports, news from the world of football. Kicker, Baltimore Ravens Pro Bowl kicker Justin Tucker has been accused of sexual misconduct or inappropriate conduct in a sexual manner, however you want to word it, however you want to put it. He's been accused of, let's call it the Deshaun Watson package, by several massage therapists in the Baltimore area. This stems from incidents that were allegedly, and I can say allegedly because he's not been charged with a crime, and it's still a open investigation right now by the NFL. But he has been charged, not necessarily charged, but he has been accused. Let's say that he has been accused of inappropriate behavior between the time of 2012 to 2016, alleged inappropriate behavior, him exposing himself and touching genitals, and the Deshaun, what's going on, Martin Nash, the Deshaun Watson thing. Here's the most interesting thing I've seen so far by the media news coverage of the Justin kicker. First of all, he said the man's name wrong. Justin Tucker. Here's the thing. One, he's a kicker. Too many people don't care about kickers, even in the world of football like that. But I find it very interesting when we consider the amount of news coverage that came out when Deshaun Watson was allegedly accused of this sexual inappropriate behavior with massage therapists. How it was top of the hour, top of the news cycle, daily breakdowns, and all of that kind of stuff. People looking into his life and past behaviors and that kind of stuff. And it was big news. Still is big news when you think of Deshaun Watson. And it's sad to say it's not necessarily for his play on the field. A lot of people like to hold that stigma of him being they like to call him a sexual predator in some media news outlets. I'm not going to go as far as that. Man wasn't charged with a crime. Man never did any jail time. I'm not going to go that far, but that's how they look at Deshaun Watson, more or less. They start with that, then go with his play on the field, which has been just as bad as the stuff that was going on off the field. Let's be honest, Deshaun Watson, probably the luckiest black man in America to have a fully guaranteed contract, to where even if he walks away, unless something happens in regards to him violating that contract, it stands to bring home $230 million off the top. So, kudos to his agent for working that out. But it's interesting when you look at the Justin Tucker situation. They're not really kind of covering it. It's not really being brought up to the extent that it was with Deshaun Watson. It's kind of like, well, we'll kind of wait and see. Even with the NFL, with their response, it's kind of like, we'll wait and see. We're just notified of this, and we'll look into it. And player conduct off the field has been a very big thing, especially over the last decade, in regards to the NFL, as far as like, stuff that you get involved in, even whether you get charged with a crime or not, just, the behavior and, the optics of it. The NFL is very, hyper aware of what the optics are and what they want the optics to look like. I can go back to about 2016, 2017 in regard to Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott was charged with, I'm going to say charged, but accused of inappropriate behavior, never convicted, none of that kind of stuff, was exonerated on that stuff. But just for the simple fact you was involved in something like that, whether it was true or not, it was found out to not be true. The NFL still suspended him for 6 games. The NFL looked at it as a black eye, being involved in something or possibly being involved in something like that, and they suspended him. And it's not rare for the NFL to take those kind of steps when stuff happens off of the field, because I would say this about the NFL more so than the NBA. I think baseball is right up there with the NFL. The NFL is very hyper aware of the product. On the field, very hyper aware of the product off the field. Anytime a player is involved in something, especially when we're talking about like the domestic abuse, sexual kind of stuff, they're on top of it. They do very deep dive investigations. Part of that is, let's keep it a buck. Part of that is part of the CYA policy. You don't want to make, you want to make sure that you had no direct ties or influence or connection with any of the alleged activity that is happening. But the NFL does a very good job of trying to protect the public image of their league, and sometimes they go a little bit too far in, I wouldn't say telling news outlets. I wouldn't say telling news outlets what to cover and how to cover it. But they kind of, I would think they would heavily suggest, hey, maybe this doesn't make, the top of the ESPN outlets. Maybe this don't make First Take in regards to, our image and that kind of stuff. Anything that does the image, and that includes stuff going on with former players. I think back to about last year, last 2 years, dealing with the Brett Favre situation down there in Mississippi with the inappropriate use of government funds, TANF funds that was used for his own personal use and gains. People didn't really cover it to the extent that, let's say Deshaun Watson. Here we have Brett Favre being accused of a crime, stealing from the poor, but it wasn't making the top of the news cycle like the Deshaun Watson was. It was kind of like, they treated Deshaun Watson like the mini OJ trial, a daily update, new lawsuits popping up every day. It was all over sports media. But the NFL does their part to make sure that their image off the field is just as pristine as the image they try to portray on the field. And that's what you have to do. You got to protect the brand. I get it. But I'm just finding it very funny that here it is, Justin Tucker's being accused of some of the same behavior that Deshaun Watson was accused of, and it's not getting the media coverage. He's not being looked at as possibly being out of the league right now. It's no talk of him possibly being suspended, or that kind of stuff being kept away from the team or team activities. I just find that very curious. But for lack of better terms, when you have the complexion for the protection, this is what kind of happens. in regards to that. So I'm not surprised that Justin Tucker's story kind of getting buried in the headlines. It's a lot of stuff going on. You have Super Bowl coming up, All-Star game coming up, baseball off season, and whatever, anything to kind of pile on. You have to kind of scroll down to find the latest and greatest on the Justin Tucker situation. He has released a statement, pretty much what we all would assume he would put out, saying this stuff is frivolous, this stuff is lies, I've never done this, yada yada yada. I mean, what do you expect a player to do? Here is another thing I find interesting about this Justin Tucker situation. Oftentimes, when black players, and I'm talking about the NFL here, when black players have stuff to happen to them off the field, I wouldn't say the majority of fans, but you have a certain segment of fans who will hold that over that player's head, no matter what he does after serving the suspension, serving time, or whatnot. That will hold that over that person's head, no matter what they do. Would hold that deed or that misdeed over them for the rest of their lives. I look at the Michael Vick situation. Michael Vick, was convicted of dog fighting, and that's a whole nother story there. Was convicted of dog fighting, but you still have people to this day after he's served his time, served his penance, been welcomed back into the league. As far as the broadcast booth and that kind of stuff, who was moved on to be head coach at a HBCU, which is cool, dope. But they still look at Mike Vick as the dog killer. Still won't let him move past that part of his life, and I find that very very troubling when you kind of think about it. And like, here's a man who's charged and convicted of doing something stupid. Let's call it what it is, doing something stupid, and served his penance, quote unquote, and it has moved on. Yet you have guys out here who are I'm looking at you, Brett Favre, who've been a dope head who was self-admittedly addicted to painkillers. You was a junkie out there playing on the field. You had your own case of inappropriate behavior when you was a member of the New York Jets, and then you had the scandal out there in Mississippi, which is still ongoing. It's not concluded, which is still ongoing. I may do an update on that in the near future, but it's still ongoing, where you were stealing and using federal funds, designed to go to the needy. And anybody that's been to I know ain't nobody from Mississippi. Let's for bum ass Mississippi, broke ass Mississippi, probably the poorest state in the entire nation. You were taking those funds and using them for your own personal gains, but yet you're still a darling to the media. They don't look at you as what you are, a junkie and a thief and a weirdo all together. But hey, this is how the game works. When you are a black player, when you're just a black person in a professional sense, anyway, you got to take extra steps, because they're gonna protect their own at the end of the day. They're gonna protect their own at the end of the day, and you just got to be mindful of that and be hyper vigilant in that. That they're not going to look out for you despite what you do on the field, despite how much money you may bring them in. As soon as it's time to get on quote unquote code, they will get on quote unquote code. And I look at the situation with Justin Tucker as the media and those in charge getting on code in regards to that. So that's about it for the Justin Tucker situation. Like, we'll keep you updated if anything else comes out of it. YouTube photo, how you doing, Miss Lady? Busy. You've been busy. You've been busy. But anyway, moving on, wanted to take a look at, NBA All-Star Weekend is coming up. The All-Star rosters have been announced. The NBA has a lot going on this season. I would say probably for me, as a fan of the game, as a fan of the game, it has been a very troubling season. I'm just going to speak from my own personal perspective first, and we'll talk about some of the troubles that the NBA is having this season. Listen, I'm just not engaged to the point where I want to watch game after game after game, and it's been like that for a couple of years. It's just lost the flavor for me. Once it's 82. Listen, 82 games is a lot of games to get through, and I'm not even talking about excuse me, from the player side. I'm talking about from the fan side. That's a lot of games. You have to be dedicated and locked in to sit there and be entertained by the amount of games that the NBA puts out on a daily basis. And for me, give me a sec. Excuse me, I get some water. It's just too much. I watch a game here or there, kind of keep up with who's kind of doing what, but I'm not that heavily involved in it. And the NBA is finding a lot of fans are feeling like I'm feeling. Viewership is down, and you can't really put a finger on it. There was talk, it was talks early in the season about it being. How you doing, Divine? How you doing, Divine? Side note, Divine. I told you so. But it's hard to kind of get into to watching these games. It was a lot of talk of it was too many 3-point shots. It's not a very entertaining for true old school basketball fans such as myself. It's not fun watching guys just running up and down the court jacking it up. I'll pass. I'm good. I'm done on that. I'll watch a game here or there, but you have All-Star weekend coming up with the NBA, and Adam Silver has found himself kind of in a bind. He's reportedly talking about cutting the NBA times on games from traditional 48 to doing a 10-minute, 40 minutes, 10 minutes a quarter, which is kind of done on the college level. In a way to kind of, I guess, decrease the scoring in the NBA. I don't know, man. I don't think that's the way to go. Because typically when you get to the playoffs, scores are not as high as you would see in the regular season. Regular season, listen, it is a slog. It is a slog, and guys are not competing in the same manner. I'm not going to say they're not competing hard, but they're not competing in the same manner that we were used to from, if you grew up on watching 80s, 90s, 2000s basketball, where guys went out there and bust their ass on a nightly basis. Guys wasn't talking about, taking time off and, that kind of stuff, load management, that's some new era type stuff, not to say the guys today are not playing hard, but just, the intensity on, I would say, the defensive end, it just don't match. And it's not a very appealing style of basketball when you see guys chucking up threes. It's nothing, why I want to see a team shooting 50, averaging 53s a game. Like it's not entertaining for me. It just means you can jack it up from that distance. It doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it. But anyway, Adam Silver finds himself in a situation trying to inject some life into the current NBA model, and the NBA's got some problems right now. When you look at the All-Star game roster, let me pull that up real quick, so you can kind of see who made the All-Star team this year. And we'll kind of talk about that. Right, come back over here. Let's see if I should put it on the big screen by itself. All right. But this is, the All-Star rosters for this upcoming All-Star game. We're gonna start with the West. I'm kind of give you my thoughts on the West of starters. I'm not willing. We'll do the reserves after that. When you look at the rest of the starters, you have Steph Curry, KD, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. I have no problems with the starters. I understand that the starters are, voted in by the fans. It's a combination of the fans, media, and coaches. I have no issue with the starters. I mean, it's the fan vote is LeBron James is going to be in the mix. Between him and Giannis is going to be in the mix for top vote getters as long as they're in the league. So I'm not surprised LeBron James made it as a starter. In my opinion, and I'm a Lakers fan, I don't think he deserves to start. But that's just me. But I'm not, I'm not the league. The fans voted for him for the most part, the leading vote getter. It's hard to keep him off the roster. Look at Jokic having another MVP caliber season. Shai is right now my leader in the doghouse for MVP, and KD and Steph are what KD and Steph. This is part of the problem that the NBA is finding with the product right now. Here you have, when you look at this All-Star roster, you're looking at LeBron James, you're looking at KD, you're looking at Steph Curry. This is just on the Western Conference side of things. You look at the old guard. Both all of these guys. Well into their 30s. LeBron James is 40. You're looking at the face of the guys who have been the face of the league for the past 20 years. Still, leading in the votes, still being voted in as starters, and that it sounds good. They're being rewarded, for their longevity and the excellence and all of that kind of stuff. But it's a problem when you look at it because here it is, the only kind of like new face to that kind of mix. Is SGA, who in my opinion could have got MVP last year, but is definitely leading the doghouse this year for MVP. Is the NBA is having a problem marketing new stars. They're having a problem marketing new stars, and let's be honest, a lot of these new stars, when you compare them to the likes of a Steph Curry, when you compare them to the like, you can't get away with what's going on. Listen, brother of a certain age, I get that. We'll talk about that in just a second, but the NBA is finding it hard to find new stars and market them to the general public. Local fan bases may, you may be in tune with what's going on with the Rockets, but a lot of the nation is not. OKC people, you guys know who. Excuse me, you guys know who SJ is because you watch them on a daily basis. But a lot of America is still kind of getting familiar with the NBA. I don't know if it's been like this since Adam Silver's kind of taken over. Maybe David Stern did a better job of marketing his stars a lot better than Adam Silver, but it seems like the NBA is finding it hard year in and year out. As we get to the twilight years of the LeBron, KD, and Steph era of introducing new stars, bringing new stars into the fold, and elevating them up to that level to where we're considering them the face of the NBA. When you kind of look at the state of the NBA in 5 years, outside of Wemby, and that's just if Wemby stays healthy. Outside of Wemby, like who do you look at as the face of the league? Like, and that's part of what has made the NBA so successful. The NBA doesn't really market teams like that outside of the Celtics, outside of the Lakers, outside of the New York Knicks. The NBA doesn't really focus on marketing teams. They like to focus on marketing stars. Marketing stars makes it easy, more accessible for fans to kind of come in. Oh, I want to see this guy play. They may not know anybody else on the roster, but this is a league built on superstars. The individual player is highlighted more in the NBA more so than the NFL. NFL, you go to see the Kansas City Chiefs play. You get to see Patrick Mahomes be brilliant, but you're there to watch the Kansas City Chiefs. Same thing with like the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon is must-see TV, but you're going there whether he was on the field or not to see the Philadelphia Eagles. They do a good job of marketing teams, marketing organizations. They don't necessarily focus on individual stars like that in the NFL. The NBA does, and they're finding it hard to elevate the next level of stars. I mean, I can sit here and name a couple guys who could be in the running for face of the NBA, but I can't tell you in the next 5 years that guy is going to be the leader of the doghouse. He's going to be the next LeBron James, the next KD, the next Steph, as far as carrying the league marketing wise on his shoulder. I can't say that. I like a lot of these young guys. It's a lot of potential. There's a lot of good talent there, but I can't bank on any of these guys in the next 5 years being that man. Maybe outside of Wemby, because he is a unicorn of a player. He's having an excellent season thus far. Had an excellent rookie year, but outside of him, and how really marketable is he to the American general public? Here you have a guy from France. I'm just saying. Looking at the rest of the Western Conference All-Stars, you have Anthony Davis, aka Mr. Glass, making the roster. Anthony Edwards, who I was kind of surprised making the All-Star team, considering how underwhelming the Minnesota Timberwolves have been this season. I'm surprised he made. I'm be honest with you, James Harden, resurrecting his career in LA. He's having a very good year. Jaren Jackson. If you haven't watched Memphis Grizzlies basketball, Jaren Jackson has expanded his offensive game this year. He's becoming more of a focal point for this team going forward with offense in combination with Ja Morant. Like if I'm picking, we'll talk more in depth in that in just a sec. Sengun from the Rockets, their lone representative. Okay, you got Wembanyama, you got Jalen Williams. Like, if you're not a true basketball fan, a lot of people don't watch or haven't seen Jaren Jackson. A lot of people haven't seen Sengun. A lot of people haven't seen Jalen Williams. And these are real good players, but it's hard to market them. And I'm not gonna. I don't want to say to all of him, do the new floor designs that covers ball of you. YouTube affordable. But listen, that's the NBA. The NBA is listen. The NBA is trying a little bit of everything to spice up the game, draw more interest into the game. Like would you have the in season tournament, the NBA Cup? That is the NBA's attempt to kind of spice up the regular seasons. Keep interest high. And that kind of stuff. But it's just not connecting with the average fan. If you're not an NBA fan, tuning into the product, a lot of times it's not going to win the average person over. Like, oh man, I got to come see this. It's outside of the old guard. Yeah, well, they irritate the older fan. Listen, there's a lot going on with those courts, but I get it. I mean, the NBA is trying anything to enhance the product. When you look at this upcoming All-Star festivities, they're trying everything to liven up the activities as far as like the All-Star game. Yes, these are the All-Star quote unquote starters or in reserves. But these 24 players will be broken up into 3 teams. One of them will play a combination of whoever wins the Rising Stars game. Those players, and I'm not even sure the actual points they go into, but they're going to do 2 game. You play a game against one eight-man squad. You win, you move on, and it's like they're trying everything to enhance the product of the game. It is hard right now because when you look at and all these people that are picked for the All-Star team, whether it be a starter or reserve, these are great players. Don't mistake my shadiness for not belaying that. These are all great players. But they're for the lack of a better terms, they're not marketable. And that's part of the NBA's like the NBA can hang their hat on we had Larry and Magic, Dr. J, and we can hang our hat on a Dominique. We can hang our hat on MJ. Even going into the 90s, you had the Shaquille O'Neals, you had the Admirals, you had Patrick Ewing, you had T-Mac, you had Grant. Like these guys was great players, but they were marketable. They at one point in time you could look at them as being major forces and major figures in the league. But when you look at the league now, I mean, how many people, if you're not a basketball fan, could walk by Jalen Brunson, who's an all-star starter in this upcoming game? How many people, if you didn't know who he was, will walk by him and think, he's just a regular Joe Schmo? Same thing with Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, great player, coming off a championship, coming off an Olympic gold medal. Just not, they're not marketable. Karl Anthony Towns, not marketable. Giannis is international. That's a different conversation. But when you look at the rest of, let's say, just the Eastern Conference starters, like a lot of these guys don't jump off the page. They're not must see TV. I don't tune in to watch Jason Tatum work. I tune in to watch the Boston Celtics, and that's one of the luxuries of being on Boston. The team is marketable, but Jason Tatum's not must-see TV. Karl Anthony Towns is not must-see TV. Like, these are great players, but when I'm from the era when Vince Carter was around, like must-see TV. Like these guys, right now they're not in it. The NBA is struggling, trying to find ways to enhance the product. I'm curious to see how this kind of works out this upcoming All-Star weekend. How does this format work? I'm not even watching the dunk contest. 3-point contests may peek in on the Rising Stars game, just for shits and giggles. But I'm kind of like a wait and see with the All-Star. A lot of times, last couple years, I wasn't really tuned in, locked into an All-Star game. It's like it's a glorified scrimmage. It's glorified practice. And that's part of the NBA's problem. Here it is, your showcase event. Guys are not going out there playing hard. Guys are just kind of going with the flow. I'm not trying to get hurt. I'm not really trying to compete. I'm not really trying to put on the show for the fans and that kind of stuff. That the competitiveness kind of goes out the window doing All-Star games. So they're that's part of the problem. Let's close out with the Eastern Conference reserves. Jaylen Brown, y'all know that's Speaks boy, second best 2 guard in the league. Cade Cunningham, well deserved. Detroit Pistons, if you haven't been keeping up, and a lot of people haven't. Detroit has kind of picked themselves up out the cellar this year, and they're having a very good year. Pistons playing, I wouldn't say bully ball, but the Detroit Pistons are playing a lot more physical basketball than a lot of other teams. Now, if you haven't watched the Pistons game, take the time out, check them out. You'd be surprised how they've come along in such a short time. Darius Garland, Tyler Hero, Dame Lillard, Evan Mobley, Pascal. Like, yeah, when you look at these guys, yeah, outside of let's look at the bench. Outside of Dame, and like I said, these are all good players. And maybe Jaylen Brown put into that mix. These guys are not must see TV. A lot of people wouldn't know who Evan Mobley is, and the kind of player he is, because he's like, he got picked because he plays on the Cavs. No, Evan Mobley is a very good player, very good player. In my opinion, the most important player on Cleveland, but I digress. Pascal Siakam, like, yes, it's mid. It's mid. Let's speak. I knew if I said something about Jaylen Brown, it'll shake you up out the clouds. I mean, but this is the all-star roster, man. And it's when you look at it, is if you're a basketball fan, these are great players to watch. You are familiar with them, but for the average casual fan, this ain't it. This is not it. Probably one of the biggest snubs, I think. A couple snubs, especially on the Eastern Conference side for me. LaMelo Ball didn't get it, even though he was the number one vote getter with fans, but it was a combination of said fans, media, and coaches. He didn't get onto the All-Star team. Also, Trae Young, point guard for the Atlanta Hawks, he didn't make it. Despite leading the league in assists, averaging 20 and 11. Like, those guys are entertainment. That's must see. They're TV. They're entertaining players. They're people can tune in to watch them. Like, nothing against Darius Garland, but do you think he's a better player than LaMelo Ball or Trae Young? I don't. But hey, I ain't the one selecting the team. Tyler Hero, like he's having a breakout year, but really, All-Star game for me, should be celebration of the best players, and these guys are having good seasons, and not to knock them, man, but this ain't. This ain't it, man. This ain't it. So I'm curious to see what the new format looks like in regards to that. Let me kind of close that out. Now, I did, brother was saying, thank you for leaving that comment earlier this week. I did want to, kind of rehash the conversation we kind of started. Rehash the conversation we kind of started on last show when we were talking about, eras and greatest teams and that kind of stuff. I wanted to kind of narrow it down a little bit, because it got me to thinking, and shout out to my executive producer for kind of, inspiring me to do this. I wanted to kind of narrow it down, and like when I look at, individual, you can say Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time, and you can argue for LeBron, I could make an argument for Kobe, being included in that conversation. But I wanted to kind of do something a little bit more fun in regards to that. I started thinking about just kind of like individual players, and looking at their seasons, their careers, and trying to break down what would you consider the greatest season of their career, when you can say this was them at their peak of powers. And I'm not necessarily talking about because they won a championship being the reason I would pick that. But I wanted to kind of, break it down into like, this season, this particular season, they played on a even higher level than normal. This is their peak for me. And I'm gonna start with Michael Jordan. A lot of seasons you can take and say, this was his best season and whatnot. For me, I want to say the 88 season. I believe it's the 88 season where, he, defensive player of the year, all of that kind of stuff, had all the honors, All-Star game MVP, all of that stuff. I would say for me, that was peak Jordan. I'm not, he won championships in other years. He didn't win in 88, of course. Didn't win until he broke through with the Pistons at the beginning of the 90s. But I look at 88 Jordan, like that was his peak. You're talking about a guy, let me pull up his stats from that year. I want to say Mike averaged like 37 that year. Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Crazy. Yeah, average 35, 6 assists, 5.5 rebounds, and listen, played all 82 games that year. I mean, just the league MVP, defensive player of the year. I mean, that's that to me. That's peak Jordan. That's Jordan at his best. Jordan as an elite. Crazy, crazy. So I look at Kobe. I would say champion. I wouldn't say the championship year. Because he had some electric years playing alongside Shaq. But I would say was it 2019 season? I would say that was peak Kobe. Where Kobe was still highly effective as a scorer, but displayed a lot of leadership that was missing a little bit early in his career. I think that was, for me, that was peak Kobe. Like, you can point to earlier seasons, when he was scoring the 81 points and that kind of stuff, and say, yeah, that was him at his powers. But I think for me, that's peak. And so my criteria is a little bit different. I just look at it as peak. I think for LeBron, second year in Miami for me was peak LeBron. I think that was LeBron at the height of his powers, as far as what he was doing on the court and the impact he had on the court. I would say second year with the Heat, for me, was LeBron's peak season. Some people may point to the 2016 season, when he brought the Cavs back 3-1 in the finals. But I mean, for me, peak LeBron. And LeBron, that I would say that year for me he had great finals. He elevated himself in that finals, but you had a dog with you in Kyrie, who was right there with you in lockstep, 40 for 40. Let's keep it real. It wasn't like he drug a dead team. You had Kyrie, who was going blow for blow with you. But I look at that second year in Miami. I look at that, after coming up short in the finals, how he took his game to another level. I think for me, that's peak LeBron. That's peak LeBron. I hope that satisfies you and North, brother, of a certain age. And we'll whenever you want to get together and have that discussion and all that kind of stuff, we'll do that. Have I done all of my sports stuff as of yet? Yes. All right, so we will be getting into the DJ Akademik situation, but let me get into the recent plane crash that happened earlier this week. Listen, I said this early in the show. I'm not an expert on that kind of thing. You have other people who can break that footage down a lot better than me, can explain what happened, what was supposed to happen, and whatnot. I want to focus in on the presidential response to the situation. Typically, what has happened in years past, when it would be a tragedy, whether it be people died in hurricanes, people died in fires or mass shootings, any kind of event that the president would have to provide commentary on, to have some words for the nation, where the nation was looking at you for something to say. Most times you would get our hearts goes out to the victims. Right now, it's too early to tell. We will work with local officials to investigate. Blah 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 blah. You get that kind of stuff, and that's typically how it goes, because at that moment in time, especially your first press conference, hours after the event has happened, you don't have all the details. Black boxes haven't even been recovered. You don't even know if there are survivors, but you want to promote a sense of ease, I guess, to the nation. Like, look, we understand this is a tragedy. Our hearts goes out to those affected. We will be trying to, find answers, and to the cause of this and whatnot. He took the opportunity to take a moment like that, a moment where that had nothing to do with politics, that had nothing to do with DEI, had nothing to do with immigration, had nothing to do with whether you voted for the man or not. Took a moment like that and turned it into a mini rally. I'm just gonna call it what it is, a mini rally. Talked about DEI, placing blame on the Obama administration, the Biden administration. Blamed it on, it was so much diversity, like, I get it, dude. You've won the election. And we know that, DEI, immigration have been kind of like the driving factors in the early stages of your second term. But in a moment like that, have some what they call have some couth about yourself. Go out there, you know, express condolences, express, that's what you're supposed to do. You're president of the United States, and you're supposed to be a reflection of your people. You're supposed to be. I don't think anybody in the moment that they found out that the plane crash happened, that this incident happened, it was possible, a potential total loss of life for all those involved. I don't think anybody was thinking along the lines of DEI. I don't think anybody was thinking along the lines of you know this is Obama's fault, or trying to place blame on people who wasn't even in directly involved in this. Like let's find out what happened. Let's find out the root, and that's what you do. But that's all this guy knows how to do. He looks at every opportunity. You put a microphone into his face. He looks at is an opportunity to rally. He thinks he's on the stage. He has to give you a show. Listen, the election is over. The election is over. Okay, you don't have to hit us with the talking points. Let's hit us with policies. Let's hit us with laws, executive orders, whatever you're trying to do. Let's get into the business side of politics. Let's get into the business side of politics, and that kind of stuff. Taking shots at your rivals in a moment like that. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And for the and I get you're in the press, you're the press, and you're there, and you're hearing this. Yeah, listen, I couldn't do it. My facial expressions would have told a different story. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, what the fuck does DEI have to do with the helicopter crash into a plane? What? Then when I don't want to place blame because we still don't know the circumstances which led to the crash. I mean, but what the fuck, man? What does DEI have to do? And we're going to find out two of the Black Hawk pilots on board were white. Because DEI, let's be perfectly honest. DEI has been code word for black. When really DEI ain't. It take care of more white folks, especially white women, than black folks. They're propaganda. I get it. YouTube or photo. I've heard some dumb shit. But like in the moment of tragedy, you don't politicize. If you want to come back, you want to double back after you find out what happened and all of that kind of stuff, and you want to make some kind of link to some shit like that. Cool. But it was a crash. And accidents happen. It was sad to see that kind of happen, but to try to politicize that and say it's Obama's fault. Well, Obama's ass been out of office for how long? And what does Obama have to do with the pilot? Explain that to me. It was Obama the flight instructor for anybody. Like, what are we doing? But they got to sit. I couldn't sit there with a straight face and like, are you serious? It would have slipped out. Like, are you serious? I get propaganda. I get you want to. I mean, but listen, the days of rallying are over. You're president. You're president now. You got to be about that action. I don't want to hear what you were saying on the campaign trail. I don't give a shit about that. I really don't. I really don't. And for this guy, if this is what it's going to be for 4 years, get ready. It's going to be a wild ride. He made it about him in the most bizarre way. People died. What I want to know is why Black Hawk was in the area. I don't know. YouTube or folded. They've recovered. Update on that. They've recovered the black boxes for both crafts. It's been some audio released in regards to somebody in the flight tower, and I'm like I said, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I just know audio has been released. Somebody in the flight tower speaking to All right, I'm back. Can y'all hear me? I had a power surge. Oh, if you can hear me, press what? I had a power surge. My lights flickered right in the middle of me talking. I guess you talk about Trump, you know, the shit off your power. Jordan's laughing at you, dots. Okay, I'm good. Yeah, but it threw me. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I'm back, man. Trump said, "Shut your ass up." But it's always funny when that happens. And Jordan in the background laugh like, "Got your ass." Oh man, I thought I got you. Hey, me too, beautiful. Can't talk bad about Trump. Your ass is up out of here. But anyway, that's funny. Damn, I forgot. I'm sorry, Trump. I won't talk no more. I won't talk greasy about you for the rest of the night because if you doing that to a brother, man, you know. All right, can y'all hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me. Like I'm gonna have to cut this short because the power has gone out, and I'm running shit through my phone. I don't not like that. If you can hear me, just press one. Not abort, bitch. All right, so I'm gonna have to kind of. How do I sound? Doing it. I want to finish this show, man, but yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of work with me on this. Trump said, "Lights off, bitch." That's an illegal nice got him. Shit, the power's out now. YouTube, like, ain't no apologize. Shit, the lights out. Thank God for hotspot. Thank you, AT&T. Like, the fuck. Let me see if I can get through the rest of this show. Moving on from Trump, Jesus Christ. Can't talk about him. Let's move on to the. They're going to deport you. Listen, I might have to do a whole separate show on the deportation stuff because some of the videos I've been seeing online, especially on Twitter, have been wild. As far as like some of the people that they're getting up out of here and how they're doing it, and that deserves its own show. But I won't do it now because hell, he might cut off my phone service at this point. Oh shit! I know my wife is like, who the fuck in there talking to? The power was out. But anyway, let me move on to the academic situation. For those who are not aware, DJ Academics has found himself in a bit of a scandal that has got him banned on Twitch. Sponsors are dropping him left and right. Make sure I don't drop myself next week. We're gonna pledge his lease to Trump third term.